bleeding purple and gold. From the heart of Los Angeles, this is the LakersNation.com podcast with your host, Trevor Lane.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. As always, we are powered by CLNS Media and LakersNation.com, your home for everything Lakers. Today's show is brought to you by RX Bar. Head over to rxbar.com/LakersNation and you'll get 25% off your first order of some delicious protein-packed bars. I eat them myself. They are great, easy to take with you, easy to just grab and go. I use them as a mid-afternoon snack. Excellent burst of protein. Again, go over to rxbar.com/LakersNation. Get 25% off your first order. Today we have Clint Parks of the Clint Parks Skills Academy, longtime friend and trainer of Lakers forward Kyle Kuzma. He's joining us to talk a little bit about Kuzma and what he's been doing in the offseason and kind of what his plans are for this coming season. Have a really great conversation coming up with him. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the whole situation going on with Jimmy Butler. The Minnesota Timberwolves have been informed that Jimmy Butler would like to be traded. And if you didn't hear the news, he wants to go to one of three teams, ideally. He'd like to go to either the Knicks, the Nets, or the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, obviously, none of these are your Los Angeles Lakers. This isn't necessarily a bad thing for the Lakers, but I don't know if it's a good thing either. If Jimmy Butler does go to the Clippers, it would seem to set them up, or at least put them in position to be a destination for Kawhi Leonard next summer, which means they'd be competing with the Lakers for his services. Now, Butler is rumored to be a guy that the Lakers are also interested in next summer. He will become a free agent no matter what, pretty much. No matter where he goes, he will almost certainly become a free agent because it makes way more financial sense for him to do that. He's got a player option this coming season for about $20 million. He could add another season onto that, but it makes a lot more sense for him to opt out of that in the summer of 2019, become a free agent. He could make upwards of, say, $33 million or so starting. So it would make a ton of financial sense for him to go ahead and opt out and be surprised if he opted into that deal. So Jimmy Butler, no matter where he goes, probably hits the free agent market, and we'd have to hope if the Lakers do want him that they can get a meeting with him, perhaps sway him wherever he's at to make the jump over to the Lakers. Now, why don't they just trade for him right now? Well, because all the guys the Lakers signed this offseason to those one-year deals, we're talking Rajon Rondo, JaVale McGee, Lance Stevenson, and all the rest, those guys can't be traded, at least not yet, not till December 15th. That's the earliest date that they are eligible to be traded. So that means the Lakers only have a handful of guys that are eligible to be traded right now, and those are guys they would like to hang on to. Guys like Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, of course, Josh Hart, all of these players. These are the guys who are eligible to be traded, and you'd have to package almost all of them together just to make salaries match or at least get close enough in order for the trade to be legal based on the NBA's rules. So that's not going to happen. You're not going to see the Lakers package together all of their young players in a trade for a guy who's going to be a free agent in just a year. So that's why the Lakers won't be making a trade for him. If for some reason Jimmy Butler is still a Minnesota Timberwolf on December 15th, then perhaps they put together a deal. But again, I'd say it's unlikely. The Lakers have historically, especially these last few seasons, have balked at the idea of trading assets right now in order to get a guy who's going to be a free agent. So, of course, I'm talking about Kawhi Leonard and I'm talking about Paul George. The Lakers have taken the approach of we'll wait till free agency to get him rather than giving up assets now. Obviously, it didn't work for Paul George. It's yet to be seen whether that strategy will work with Kawhi Leonard, but it's hard to imagine a scenario where this summer the Lakers decide not to really put a good offer in for Kawhi Leonard and then go ahead and break open the vault and unleash all their assets in order to get a Jimmy Butler who, by most accounts, is not on the same level as a healthy Kawhi Leonard. Now, if Jimmy Butler does end up going to the Clippers, again, the Lakers could have some competition. If he goes to the New York Knicks, it'll be interesting to see, could Kyrie Irving be making the jump from the Boston Celtics then to go join Jimmy Butler there? We've long heard that he's interested in being a New York Knick. So there's a lot of dominoes that could fall depending on where Butler winds up going. I think the Nets are an interesting option. They have Kenneth Faried's expiring contract in addition to a few young assets. Now, the Nets, though, are, of course, coming off of what was a really difficult stretch where they didn't have any of their picks. They traded them all away in order to get Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and that blew up in their faces, and the Celtics reaped all the benefits. Do they really want to trade future pieces right now in order to get a star? I don't know. It seems a little bit far-fetched to think that, and everything they've said has led us to believe otherwise. So could Jimmy Butler wind up in a different location? Could a team just take a chance on him? Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the way things are going in the NBA right now. Players are giving out their list of desired locations, and teams aren't really listening to them. They're not following that. They're just looking for the best deal, which is what they should do. But that's why Paul George didn't wind up a Laker. That's why Kawhi Leonard didn't wind up a Laker or a Clipper, because the Indiana Pacers and the San Antonio Spurs went and got what they felt was the best deal for them at the time. And that's what the Minnesota Timberwolves are probably going to do. So could we see another team jump into the mix? Sure, you could see any number of possibilities out there. Perhaps the Toronto Raptors decide they want to really double down and go after another star player to put in there with Kawhi. Maybe they try to make something happen. Maybe there's another team out there that is willing to offer up a lot and risk it and hope that they can convince Jimmy Butler to re-sign in the summer of 2019. That's certainly what the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be hoping for. They're going to hope for a bidding war. Now, it does get awkward, though, because training camp starts up in less than a week now. So the Minnesota Timberwolves have got to get a move on. This gives them no time to really find a great deal for Jimmy Butler. So there may be some awkward weeks here where Butler is still a Timberwolf, but everybody knows that he's on the way out. And it'll be interesting to see how the organization handles that. Again, though, just to kind of sum it all up, no, the Lakers will not be trading for Jimmy Butler, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are out of the running for him. They could still pursue him in the summer of 2019. That's next summer. They will have a max salary slot available, so they could go after him then and pair him up with LeBron James. Although the rumor from Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN was that Butler's more interested in the Clippers. More interested in being a Clipper and having his own team than going and teaming up with LeBron. Kind of a head scratcher. I've heard Alex Kennedy of Hoops Hype mention that Jimmy Butler loves Los Angeles. And to me, if you love Los Angeles, if you love being there, you spend a lot of time there, then you know that it's not the same. Being a Clipper is not the same as being a Los Angeles Laker. To Southern California residents, to fans around the league, being a Clipper just doesn't hold that same prestige that being a Laker does. Jimmy Butler probably knows that being a Clipper isn't the same. You're not going to get the same reaction in Los Angeles as you will if you're in a Lakers jersey. You just don't. I mean, think about Chris Paul, right? Chris Paul winds up a Clipper. He shows his face at Dodger Stadium and he gets booed out of the place. LA fans are typically not big Clippers fans, at least the majority of them. A lot of fans prefer to see the Clippers go elsewhere. I've seen so many people say, why don't the Clippers go to Seattle? Why don't they go back down to San Diego? Anywhere else? Well, that's not going to happen. But the point is still that the Clippers don't have that same kind of allure. So if Jimmy Butler is really worried about being a star in a big market, I don't know that the Clippers are really the home for him. But right now, the rumor is that's the team that he would prefer to go to out of those three. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, though. The Clippers don't have much to offer in the way of draft picks. They do have some interesting players. But for right now, I'd say Lakers fans should be hoping that Jimmy Butler goes somewhere other than the Clippers. I think that will give the Lakers a better standing come free agency next summer. Anyway, that's enough on Jimmy Butler. I think we've been talking about him for a bit, and I know that there's going to be plenty of time to discuss where he finally ends up when the Minnesota Timberwolves do ultimately trade him away. So let's jump into my interview with Clint Parks, of course, trainer for Kyle Kuzma. He always a great conversation and has some wonderful things to say about Kuzma and what his plans are for this coming season. But first, let's pause for just one moment to talk a little bit about RX bars, which is a kind of protein bar. I've been eating these myself. As Clint Parks is going to talk about in just a moment, nutrition is so important for athletes, and really it's important for everybody. If you are trying to make physical improvements, if you're trying to build muscle, protein is so important. I've been lifting weights, trying to get stronger, been working on that, and I've been eating an RX bar every afternoon as a nice little protein boost. Try and help me out. You got to have that protein in order to build muscle. These things taste excellent. There are tons of different flavors that you can try. I was really surprised that one of my favorites ended up being blueberry. So I would totally recommend to anyone who tries them, give them all a shot. There are tons of different flavors that you can try, and they are all good. but it may be one that you didn't expect that winds up being your favorite. And maybe the best thing about RX bars is that right on the front of the package, man, they put their ingredients on there. It tells you exactly what you are getting. Don't have to flip it over. Don't have to read through the small print or anything like that. It's right there on the front in your face, letting you know exactly what you are putting in your body, which is so important in this day and age. Make sure you know what you are eating. An RX bar does a wonderful job of making sure that people know exactly what they're getting. And right now, because you're listening to this show, you can get 25% off your first order. Just go to rxbar.com/LakersNation. Get 25% off your first order. Again, highly recommend them, rxbar.com/LakersNation, and then use this promo code LakersNation at checkout. They'll give you 25% off your first order. Go try them. You are going to like them. Tons of different flavors to choose from. Guarantee you're going to find something that you like. Up next, we're chatting with Clint Parks about Kyle Kuzma and the Los Angeles Lakers' upcoming season. Joining us today is Clint Parks, who runs the Clint Parks Skills Academy, basketball trainer, works quite a bit with Kyle Kuzma, Lakers forward. Clint, thanks so much for hopping on here with us.
Thanks for having me on today, Trevor. Really appreciate it.
Hey, so the Lakers made a number of moves. We're going to get to Kyle Kuzma in just a moment here, but the Lakers made a ton of moves this summer. What's your take? How do all the pieces fit together from a training perspective? Are you pleased with what the Lakers have done with the pieces that they've put together?
Yeah, I think it was a great summer for them. I mean, obviously, just to haul in LeBron by himself is huge. A major shot to the franchise, to the city. The whole sports landscape here in LA is, I mean, to have someone like LeBron come is huge, and it speaks volumes to the job that Magic and Rob and Jeannie and the rest of the front office are doing and are doing, and the vision that they have for the team moving forward.
Do you feel like they're building a positive culture? Because it seems, from my perspective, it seems like there's been a definite shift in just kind of the energy around the Lakers since Magic and Rob Pelinka took over.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think, Magic is known as one of the most competitive guys to play the game, and you have someone like Rob who's competitive as well. And so you bring that together, and I mean, these guys want to win championships. They're not here just to make the playoffs or Western Conference Finals. The goal is to win a championship, and it's to win one now.
Yeah, and with LeBron, obviously that's going to be the goal. Having him in house, it means that they're going to be looking to try to win championships, and a lot of it's going to be on the young guys to really step up. And of course, we're talking about Kyle Kuzma and Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram, and these guys to step up and accept that responsibility and that role of, okay, now we're contenders. We're not just hoping to develop into better basketball players. What's your take? Being a guy who's worked so much with Kyle Kuzma, you've trained him for years now. How did you feel about the way that he performed last season? Were you pleased with it? Were you thinking there were other areas that he could improve upon? How did you see it?
I thought it was a really good year for him. Obviously, there's always room for improvement. You know, one of the best things about Kyle is that he's always able to look himself in the mirror and truly give a real evaluation of where he stands and what he needs to do better. And I think he did that in the off season. He knows he needs to become a two-way player, and he wants to become a two-way player, someone who could be counted on to guard the other team's best players on the wing and inside as well. And like, that's the challenge he wants, and he knows like that's the next step for him as a player. There's nothing he can't do offensively. You know, he could score at all three levels. And I think it's just becoming a lockdown defender. That's just the next step for him. And I think he did a lot of work in the weight room this summer, changed his diet, changed his body completely. That'll allow him to just compete at a high level for a complete game on both ends of the floor, not just offensively, but defensively as well. And I think that's something that everyone around the organization realizes as well, that he's taking that upon himself this summer to make strides in that area.
So Kuzma's focus has been working on his defensive game and getting himself into better shape. I heard that he was even going to 3-a-day workouts. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What's his workout regimen look like?
Yeah, he spent a part of the summer doing 3 days. Obviously, it's not something you do every day where you're working out 3 times a day, but he was in the weight room early, 5:30, 6 a.m., then on the court with Miles, and then we go back in the afternoon as well sometimes, or he'd go there by himself and get shots up. So he spent a lot of time doing 3 days. He had his fair share amount, but he's also understands that it's a long season and you got to take care of your body, and it's not only just training hard, but it's training smart. And I think he's found the right balance of that.
You mentioned that he's changed his diet as well. How important is nutrition for these guys? I mean, we always hear about the workout piece and how much more weight they're lifting and how much stronger they've gotten and all of this, but we don't hear a ton about the nutrition side. What's he doing in that area?
Oh, the nutrition is everything. He hired a chef. So like that was big. Just bringing somebody in that can really cook the food that he needs to be eating to just help him maximize his potential. Like that's what it's all about. Like every advantage, you hear about guys, the best players in the league, like LeBron, the money they spend on their bodies, because your body is everything. Your body breaks down, then you're not going to be able to perform at a high level. You're not performing at a high level, then everything's all for naught. Like that's what everything comes to performing at a high level. Like all the opportunities that you see that are presented to guys off the court, like they all come from getting it done at a high level on the court. And I think just being able to take care of your body, putting the right things in your body will allow him to be able to do it for 82 games consistently, night in, night out. Like you always hear old timers, vets, and coaches talk about that's what separates guys that could be counted on every single night to get the job done.
It feels like, just from having talked to Kuz and hearing about the workouts that he's been going through and all of that, it feels like he really, really wants to be great. I mean, we hear about some of these players who come into the league and they're excited to just be there. They're excited to be part of the NBA. But Kyle seems to have this inner drive, and I don't know if I can even pinpoint what it is. I don't want to say Mamba mentality. I don't want to say it's Kobe-esque and compare him to Kobe or anything, but he just seems to have this inner fire that's driving him to become the very best basketball player that he can possibly be. And his workouts and his diet changing and all of that speaks to that. But can you tell us a little bit more about that? What is it that's pushing him so much? Is that just all internal forces, or what's the story there?
I mean, he's just a special kid. Like he's always had that drive since I met him to be great. Like that's always been his goal. And like most people, I think a lot of players are afraid to really, like a lot of players might say they want to do it like privately behind closed doors but he's not afraid to come out and say it. Like I want to be one of the best to ever play. And like if you're really like why shouldn't you feel like that? Like that's what this league is about, competition. Like I always tell people when it comes to Kyle, like he has the talent, which is important, but he also has the work ethic and the mentality. You know what I mean? Like he has the whole package. Like he has to keep working, he has to stay hungry. Like he can't get content, get complacent. And I don't think that's going to be something that he's going to struggle with. He just got to keep pushing ahead, but he for sure wants to be one of the best to ever play the game.
Does he still have that chip on his shoulder from being selected with the 27th pick, from falling that far in the draft last year?
I'm not sure. Like I think right now it's just more about like he's always gonna have a chip on his shoulder. Mm-hmm. Like that's just Kuz. Like he's gonna find any little thing to motivate him to keep pushing. You know what I mean? Like he feeds off of all that stuff. But more than anything, it's just getting better and being the best player for your team, so you can help your team make a deep run in the playoffs and compete for championships. Like that's what your team needs you. Your team needs you to continue to get better. And I think at this point, like everyone in the league, around the league, knows what type of player you are, and this is you continuing to develop and push the envelope.
From having worked with him so much, what do you think is the ideal position for him? That's something that we've heard a lot about this summer. We've heard some people speculating that he might play a little bit of a small ball five. Other people saying he'll be a backup power forward to LeBron James. And then recent reports, Mike Trudell did a piece on him for Lakers.com suggesting that he's preparing to play some wing, to play more small forward. And that caught some people off guard. What's he really looking to do? Is he hoping to go down a position, go up a position? Where's he hoping to play?
Just put Kuz on the floor. That's Kuz's mentality. Just put me on the floor. Wherever you put me, I'm gonna get it done. That's always been his mentality. You could put him at the wing, you could put him at the post. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's gonna produce. That's just what he does. He's an elite competitor already as a young guy in the league, and that's what separates him from a lot of people. Like, he's not coming in here like, oh, this is my big bro. Like, oh, he's a vet. Like, nah, he's here to compete. He's here to show people what he's about and what he's capable of. And at the end of the day, like, that's all it's a competition. Like, the best players want to compete, and that's what he thrives under. Like, he loves competition.
I mean, positionless basketball, I guess that's what the modern day is moving towards. So I guess he's really versatile and can play just about anywhere out there on the court. I guess it may not even really matter if he's a small forward or power forward or center. He's just a basketball player, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's what he's always said. I'm just a basketball player. And just showing that he can guard multiple positions. Like, my thing, everyone's thing to him, like, around him that was close with him, is like, you should be somebody that could guard 4 positions, like, legitimately. Like, that's the goal for you. Like, and I think he made a lot of strides in the weight room this summer to really being that type of guy.
Now, when we talk about his potential and how much he showed last season, I mean, he really was, I mean, beyond belief last season when he was, I mean, picked so late in the first round. The expectations were low. He blew up in summer league, and then everybody kind of said, okay, well, it's just summer league. Then he continued in preseason. Everybody said, well, it's just preseason. Then we're getting into the regular season, and he's still lighting people up. And people started to say, wow, okay, maybe the Lakers really found something here. What's his ceiling, though? I mean, he dropped a little bit in the draft, partially because of his age. Is there even a limit to his ceiling, or is he just scratching the surface of his potential? Where does he go from here?
There is no ceiling. He could be an all-star and a franchise player. Like, he's that talented. He's that good. Like, he's willing to put in the work. Like, people could shake their head and try to put a limit on him, but that's fine. They're just going to end up coming around at the end of the day saying, man, I didn't know Kuz was this good. I didn't know he had this. I didn't know he had that. That's why I tell people, yep, you're going to keep finding out he got more and more and more, because he's someone that's going to add something every year. Like, every summer he's going to come back, and he's going, and even during the season he's going to continue. That's the beauty of, like, someone like him. Like, he understands that, okay, you put in all this work during the season, but now that season's coming, that doesn't mean the work stops. You still got to show up early. You still got to get your treatment every day. You still got to stay after practice. You still got to keep your skills sharp during the season. And to do that, you got to continue to put the work in. And he understands that. And he loves basketball. Like he really loves basketball. Like, there's some guys who are talented, and so they play because they're naturally talented. And there's some guys who are, you're talented, but they really love hoop. Like he just loves to hoop, like, nonstop. Like, he loves to work on his game. He loves to watch film. He watches basketball. Like, he could tell you the top high school players, top college players. Like, he's just into the game. That's who he's always been since I've known him.
You mentioned that he loves watching film. A recent report suggested that he's been watching film with Rajon Rondo. Has he mentioned anything about that? Have the veterans, given him any tips or anything, or how's that dynamic all working out?
Yeah, he's watching something. He told me about watching film with Rondo and just picking up different stuff defensively and just looking for guys' tendencies. Like, that's something that he's really into, like, trying to become better at, and, like, knowing what to look for when you're watching the film, and just being able just to pick guys' games apart, knowing who you're guarding, where they want to get to, taking that away. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then knowing And then also knowing like, okay, this is what guys try to take away when they guard me. Okay, so if a guy does this, I'm gonna do this. Like, it's a game. It's just a game of cat and mouse. Really, just becoming smarter, just becoming improving your basketball IQ. And I always say like, you do that by watching film, by watching basketball. And he's someone that he watches a lot of basketball, which is great.
See, Clint, I'm getting more and more excited about the start of the season the more we're talking about this, because all the stuff you're describing that Kuzma is doing is just, I mean, on the money, exactly what you would hope a player would be doing for the Lakers. I mean, picking the brain of Rondo on defensive tendencies and everything. This is going to be an incredible season. Playing with LeBron James. Let's chat a little bit about that before we wrap up here. How does the game change for Kuz now that he's playing with LeBron, and how can he make the game easier for LeBron while he's out there on the floor with him?
Oh, for Kuz, there's going to be no adjustment because Kuz isn't like, his game isn't built off of handling the ball or needing the ball in isolation. Like Kuz is simple but highly effective. Like he really he knows how to play off of, like, his game is tailor made to play off of a superstar like LeBron, because he's going to be able to make shots. And then guys are going to be flying out, closing out at him. And Kuz is already one of the best in the league, in my opinion, at playing off of a closeout. You know, he runs the floor naturally. You know, like, that's what he does. He sprints the floor. Like, he's really worked on his conditioning, and he's in great shape right now. So sprinting the lane is going to be nothing for him every time, forcing the defense. So guys like LeBron and Lonzo and Rondo who like to pass, like, if he's running every time, he's going to get dunks. He's going to get wide open threes. He's going to have like guys helping, trying to stop LeBron. So he's just going to be open a lot. Like, and then you got guys like Lonzo and Rondo, obviously, who love to pass as well. Like, so it's going to be, I mean, the adjustment for him is going to be simple, really, if you ask me.
And how about the other way? Are there things that you see in Kuz's game that can help LeBron James out there?
Yeah, I think just Kuz being a guy like, okay, like, we're playing Golden State. Like, LeBron, you don't got to guard KD or take on that matchup all game. Like, Kuz, you're somebody, okay, like, you put this work in the off season, like go out there and then take that challenge, you know, like, just different matchups where LeBron can not say rest, but, you know, you have someone else on the perimeter who can really defend at a high level. And now that allows, you know, LeBron not to have to take on that challenge all game, like, for the entire game. And so I think that'll help LeBron as well. But I mean, that's pretty much it.
All right. Before we get out of here and let you go, give us your prediction. How are the Lakers going to do this season? Where do you see them falling, record wise?
I mean, I don't record wise, like, I'm expecting a big year from them. Like, I'm expecting them to compete at a high level. Like, I think guys are ready, you know, like, I think they're ready to show people, like, why wait? Like, that's Kuz's mentality. You know what I mean? Like, what are we waiting for? Like, the best time is now. The young guys got to grow up. At the end of the day, it's about competing. As long as those guys show up on 82 games, compete at a high level, play hard, you know, they got a great coaching staff. They got the support from the higher ups as well. Like, they got guys just got to go out and compete. And I think training camp, the tone will be set right away because it's going to be very, very competitive, and that's something that's going to help them down the line for sure.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be an incredible season. Obviously, there's a ton of intrigue. The Lakers are expected to make the playoffs. They're expected to play at a high level, like you said, Clint. So yeah, even if we're not going to put an exact number on it, there's a style of play, there's a quality of play that we're going to be expecting. And it sounds like with the work that Kyle Kuzma has been putting in, we're going to be seeing a real big season from him. Clint, thanks so much for coming on here, man. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing your insight into the Lakers and Kyle Kuzma.
Thanks for having me on, Trevor. Really enjoy it as always.
All right, and everybody, make sure you go check out the Clint Parks Skills Academy, and you follow Clint. He's an excellent follow on Twitter. Go follow him at Brotherhood05. Does a wonderful job on there as well. That's going to wrap things up for today's show, guys. We'll be back on Monday with a new show, getting ready for Lakers Media Day and, of course, the start of training camp. Make sure you guys head over to LakersNation.com for everything Lakers. Till next time, see ya.